Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, A Time for Reading. Today we are doing my mid-year book freak out tag. For me, my very best book that I've read so far this year is Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. I absolutely adore this book. I do talk about it in a little bit more detail, although I swear I think I spent more time gushing than actually telling you what the book is about, but that to me is honestly okay because there is a mystery aspect, and in general with mysteries I try not to read the dust jacket myself because I don't want to spoil myself on things that can be surprising or interesting to me as I read it. To give you a little idea on genre, it is listed as a courtroom thriller, but I would say it's more courtroom thriller meets literary fiction. So it is a slower read, but it is so worth every moment you spend reading it. That best sequel is The Reluctant Queen, and this book is the second book in the Queens of Renthia series, so it is the sequel to The Queen of Blood. Now, for me, I read this entire series this year, and it's literally my favorite series I've read so far this year. I did not expect to love it as much as I did. To be perfectly frank, I only read it because my friend recommended it to me, and I trust her. Reading the description, I did not really think it was going to be that great. Damn, was I wrong. I think I devoured the whole thing in under a week, which saying a lot. It's not a short series at all, but it's excellent. So definitely go check it out. I don't know why I don't hear more about the series because it's incredible. I'm pretty sure it came out a couple years ago, but don't sleep on it. It's so freaking good. I picked out a book that came out a couple weeks ago, I think. I got it as part of Book of the Month last month, and I haven't gotten to it yet, which is really shocking to me. I was so stoked about this book even being on the list. The book that I'm talking about is Recursion by Blake Crouch. Now, I've already read Dark Matter, loved Dark Matter. Apparently, I enjoy when my brain feels like it's been twisted into knots and then stepped on a few times. There's something unbelievably satisfying about it. I loved the situation that Blake Crouch created and how he worked his way through it. And I feel like Recursion is going to be a lot of that same feeling, but with a whole different premise and a whole different storyline. So cannot wait to read it. Obviously, I've got some of the basic ones of Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and also Maggie Stiefvater's Call Down the Hawk. That being said, I feel like the book I'm looking forward to the most this year is Someone We Knew by... So this book is called Someone We Knew. Shocking. It's amazing how no one else is calling it that. Just this chick who apparently can't read. I hope you guys can, because I clearly can't. So, yeah, it's called Someone We Know. Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina. Sherry Lapina. I read The Couple Next Door and absolutely adored it. The only reason I listed it as a 4 out of 5 was because there's just some aspects of it that were a little unbelievable. But that being said, it was an excellent thriller, and I love thrillers. It's one of my favorite genres. So for me, knowing that an author that I very much enjoyed reading is coming out with a new book excites the crap out of me. So for me, it would definitely be Someone We Knew by Sherry Lapina. And it pains me to say this, but I would have to go with All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. This was a disappointment because there was a lot of people recommending it that I trusted. There was so many people that when they found out I was reading it, they're like, oh my God, you're gonna love it. I read it and I loved it. So my expectations were very high. And then not only that, the genre and the topic it's covering, when I've read it before, I've very much enjoyed it. And I feel like it's a book that's covering a topic that should be represented even more than it is. Overall, like everything about this book was screaming, Sharon, this is a 5-star read for you. And it wasn't. It was more like a 2.5 to 3-star book. The things that Colleen Hoover did right for me in this book were done excellent. Like there were so many parts where I felt like I got gut punched. And then there was other parts where I felt like I was supposed to be gut punched and it was just trying too hard to make it so. There's a lot of parts that I felt like were corny, or I just felt like the way that the characters were behaving were just very unbelievable and just not like actual human beings behave. I can see why lots of people love it, and I thought it was gonna do a lot more great, awesome things than it did. And it was a bit disappointing in that sense. The biggest surprise that I read this year was actually An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. So this book was a book that I had so many opportunities to read this book. I had it offered on Book of the Month. I saw it at multiple bookstores. I saw signed copies at like some independent bookstores. This book was like haunting my dreams. It was literally everywhere. And yet every single time I saw it, I was like, that's not for me. That's not something I'm going to be into, blah, blah, blah. To this day, I still don't know why I even ended up picking it up, but I am so glad that I did. I absolutely love this book. I thought it was so fun and interesting. There's just so much that gets covered, how we relate to others and what's appropriate to share and what's not, and how much should we limit what we share with others, and etc. and so forth. Like, I think it's so interesting that it's a YouTuber who wrote this book, and it's just fantastic. I don't know what made me end up picking it up, but I'm glad whatever that force was, I'm glad it was at work. I had a couple that I listed down that I was just like, I love this author. I believe this year, between Discovering Bookstagram last year and Booktube last year, like my reading list, my to be read list, my want to read list of books like has grown to an exponential degree. Like I can't even understand what's happening. That being said, there's definitely a few standout authors. So for me, the author that I'm gonna mention, because I haven't mentioned her yet, but she will come up again later, it would be Celeste Ng. I was in shock at how much I loved Everything I Never Told You. I knew that I would enjoy it up to a point, but to be perfectly frank, I knew it had a very literary fiction angle to it, and I was not thinking I would like that. I've never seen myself as like that type of person who likes literary fiction. I always figured I was way too drugstore romance novel type to like be into that.
Not to judge those who are, you guys are literally my people.
I read Everything I Never Told You and was just like, ooh, my soul was shook, you guys. Like, it was so freaking amazing. Probably my second favorite book next to Miracle Creek. And as soon as I finished it, I ordered Little Fires Everywhere right after, without even reading what the heck it's about. I still don't know what the heck that book is about, but I don't care. Why would I care? Like, it's written by Celeste Ng. I'm gonna buy it. And knowing that I got that mindset pretty much immediately after finishing that book, I think makes it qualify for this question pretty perfectly. My new favorite character of the year would be the Gray Man. So when I was reading the Raven cycle, I felt like I was expecting to fall in love with Blue or the Raven Boys or even one of the family members. I started off reading the book where he shows up hating him. I was like, oh my God, you're a terrible person. I can't believe I'm reading this right now. Like, what is happening? Oh my gosh, like I hope someone destroys you. Like, I did not like him. And yet, as the series continued and you found out more about why he is the way that he is, you just like felt your heart open to him. At least I felt mine do that. And actually, when I had the opportunity of meeting Maggie Stiefvater at BookCon, that was actually one of the things I mentioned, that if there was ever a book just covering in more depth the backstory of the Gray Man, I would be so many types of down for that. Like, yeah, that would be a book I'd flip the hell out over. Every single time I knew his section was coming up, it was just like the most anticipation of anything I was reading in the book. Like, his sections were the parts that I was just like, I'm obsessed with. So the Gray Man's absolutely my favorite character of the year. So for me, I picked a book that did both, and that would be The Bride Test by Helen Huang. You can actually see me speak about that book in a little bit more depth when you watch my video involving my book awards. That book made me smile literally the entire time as I was reading the book. I laughed my butt off while I was reading it. There were just some very memorable scenes, and I know it's going to be a book that I reread anytime I just need something light and wonderful and just fills my heart with joy. It was such a great read. That book would be A Night of Cake and Puppets by Laini Taylor. I read this book for the first time via audiobook and I loved it so much because I was obsessed with Susanna. When I got it, I never expected it to look the way that it did. Like, I'd seen the cover and I thought it was a really pretty cover, but this book is beautiful all over. When you take off the dust jacket, half of it is bright blue and the other half is bright pink, and they have embossed the character images from the cover onto the hardcover itself. Then when you open it up, there's also illustrations throughout the book done in the same art style. Like, it is stunning. I actually bought more copies of the book just to give out to people because I was like, one, it's fantastic. It's a really fun read and a great intro to Laini Taylor, but it's also freaking gorgeous. So yeah. For me, that book would be Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Like I mentioned before, I bought this right after finishing Everything I Never Told You. I have it at my apartment right now. I haven't read it yet, but damn straight, I'm gonna read it as soon as I possibly can get it onto my TBR. Right now, I'm in the midst of the Book Junkie trial, so I haven't been able to fit it into my TBR at this point, but trust and believe it's gonna get on there because I know it's gonna be one of my new favorite books as soon as I finish reading it. If Everything I Never Told You is anything to go by, and everyone that I've met that has enjoyed one has enjoyed the other one, so I can't wait. I also have a lot of other books I'm really excited to get to. So far I've read 82 books this year, and my goal is 150. I'm hoping to fit in some incredible books before the end of the year. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to for this year. Now, if you like this content and you like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you liked what you saw enough to want to see more, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And if you just want to talk about the books you're freaking out over, make sure you comment down below because I'd love to chat with you about it. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope that you find a time for reading. Bye, everyone.